Welcome back to the program. I am so happy to finally be able to say, I told you so. Because President Trump is finally listening to people like me and many others. Be serious about the Autopen. Be serious about that scandal. And yes, null and void the entire thing. And that is what he just said that he is planning on doing. I love this. I couldn't wait to report this because this is something that I've been talking about and calling for since day one. Since day one of his new term. I've been saying the same thing. The key is the Autopen, and if you can undo all the damage that's been done, then we're going to be in a lot better situation moving forward. Finally, they're looking into this. Trump declares any document signed by Biden with the Autopen is immediately terminated. Threatens Biden with even perjury charges. President Trump on Friday declared any document signed by Joe Biden or any of the people around him with the Autopen is hereby terminated and of no further force or effect. Trump also threatened Joe Biden with perjury charges. Any document signed by Sleepy Joe with the Autopen, which was approximately 92% of all documents, is hereby terminated and of no further force or effect. The Autopen is not allowed to be used if approval is not specifically given by the President of the United States, President Trump said on Truth Social. The radical left lunatics circling Biden around the beautiful resolute desk in the Oval Office took the presidency away from him. I am hereby canceling all executive orders and anything else that was not directly signed by crooked Joe Biden because the people who operated the Autopen did not do so legally. Joe Biden was not involved in the Autopen process, and if he says that he will then be brought up on charges of perjury. Thank you again for your attention to this matter. So newly released internal emails confirm Joe Biden did not review the thousands upon thousands of pardons granted at the end of his presidency. The emails revealed that Biden staffers made all of those decisions on their own to sign all of those pardons with the Autopen without directly hearing the orders from Joe Biden. It was then further revealed that Joe Biden did not approve of each name for the pardons. And after changes were made about the specific inmates, Biden did not sign off on the revised list. Rather, his aides just ran the final version through the Autopen without Biden's approval. The White House counsel's office is fully investigating the Autopen scandal and is expected to review over 1 million documents. The Oversight Project broke the story about the Biden Autopen scandal wide open after they discovered thousands of acts of clemency and executive actions were signed with an Autopen rather than a wet signature. Earlier this year, the Oversight Project revealed 6 criminals were pardoned by Biden's Autopen on December 30th, 2022, while Joe Biden was vacationing and golfing in St. Croix. The Oversight Project previously gathered every document that they could find with Biden's signatures. In March, the Oversight Project discovered there was a second frequently used Autopen signature for Joe Biden's pardons and commutations. Autopen A and Autopen B have slightly differences in their signatures. And then it just goes and shows a bunch of the different signatures and things like that. So this is nothing new. We knew that he wasn't president. We knew that his staff was running everything behind his back. But the fact that President Trump has now come out and said it's all null and void, well, if that's the case, and the president can then again be declared mentally incapacitated through the 25th Amendment, you can get doctors, and I've said this months ago, you can get doctors that will interview him, do a deposition on him, and come to a consensus that medically speaking, he is not able, conscious, able, whatever, cognitively able to have done the job of the President of the United States. So that then says to me, well, who actually appointed and confirmed these judges? Who picked these radical, extreme leftist judges, these judicial gnats, as I like to call them, that don't care about the Constitution and only care about politics and are issuing illegal and unconstitutional orders trying to slow down President Trump and his Make America Great Again agenda and the Golden Age? Who picked those judges? Why are those judges not removed from the bench? That would be the next thing. And who knows, maybe I'll reach out and see if he can pull these judges off the bench, because they're not legitimate. They were not chosen by an actual president. They were chosen by whoever chose them. And that's illegal, it's unethical, it's unmoral, and it's unconstitutional. So what I want to know is, how do we get rid of all of these scumbag judges, hundreds of them, that were appointed and confirmed, and they were not even really appointed because President Biden, who wasn't the president, just in name only, he didn't appoint them. He didn't have the mental capacity to do anything for 4 years. It was like what they do in Russia in the Bolshevik Revolution, where they wheel out some old Russian guy, they hold his head up, yeah, right? And that's supposed to be the guy in charge, but it's all his lieutenants, his commanders, all the people in the military that are running everything. But they need a president, so they wheel out this, corpse, basically, and they hold his arm up and they get him to wave. It's like Weekend at Bernie's. The only problem is we had Weekend at Joe's for 4 long, miserable, terrible, illegal, unethical, unmoral, and unconstitutional years. And that all needs to go away. Nothing that he has done. And you know what? God bless President Trump for taking down his portrait and putting a picture of the Autopen, because that's a realistic view of who and what was destroying our country for 4 years. So I'm not going to stop. I'm going to continue to push these people. I want these judges, more than anything, the cabinet members are the cabinet members. They're illegal, they're unethical. Look, if you're willing to serve a communist that stole power, well, then you got to live with that, and you should go to hell for that, obviously. But these judges that were appointed and then confirmed by a stupid Senate that didn't even look to see if they were actually really, truly appointed by the president, shame on the Senate. Shame on the senators and the Judiciary Committee for confirming these idiots. We still got a lot of work to do, folks. A lot of fucking work to do. And we only have 3 years. That's it. 3 years. We got to get a lot of stuff done. So I'm glad, I'm happy, I'm excited that they are moving forward with this. The Autopen scandal is the most important one, okay? The most important one. Yes, the criminal conspiracy is important. Yes, so many of these other things, and the mortgage fraud and all these different things that we're seeing and finding, they're all important. But if you unravel the Autopen and you get that thing in front of the Supreme Court, and they say, because there's tons of evidence, that for 4 years we've had a constitutional crisis of no leadership and no president, then every single act that he did, every judge, every cabinet member, every piece of legislation, which thankfully wasn't a lot other than the falsely named Inflation Reduction Act. I don't think there was any other real legislation that passed, thankfully. But even whatever the hell that was would be undone. Every single thing that they did with immigration would be undone. Everything would be undone. And quite frankly, we should be able to take back our money from Ukraine, because that was illegal as well. Do you understand what's happened here? I mean, I know you do. But the magnitude of the theft and the fraud and the deception is on a scale that you only see in third world countries. You don't see that in the United States of America. So keep praying. that the Autopen scandal is one of the ones that breaks immediately, because that one, you can undo all the pardons at the Supreme Court. There's no such thing as a preemptive pardon. That is bullshit. Okay? And again, all these things that happened can be undone as soon as we hold these people accountable with the Autopen. So anyway, those are my thoughts. What are yours? Put them down in the comments below. We'll see you in the next one.